That's my point, Rita. Let's not play Columbo here. Look, Brett Sutton will either have two defences, right? He's either going to argue incompetence, which is I just reply to emails but don't read them, or he lied and there's going to be something there. But where was the Health Minister come back and explain what's going on? Graham Ashton come back and explain what was going on. Daniel Andrews, Chief of Staff, are going to go through your phone records. Daniel Andrews, you're going to come back. Instead, it was 20 minutes. Oh, what a giant... Nothing really changed today.
No, I mean, it was something better than what we've seen in recent weeks. They're close to doing their job, but, yeah, it just hasn't got that desire to uncover the truth that you would expect a board of inquiry to have. So there's plenty of people who should be called back. There's plenty more evidence that should be requested. And when they're there, they have to be questioned forensically and strongly, not just have their statements read back to them and have them agree with it. So, and Brett Sutton, it wasn't just that email. There are other emails later on in the piece where he inquires about hotel quarantine and security guards. He's told ADF is available, and then he does nothing. He doesn't actually follow up. He doesn't communicate that to his relevant minister, or to his colleagues to make sure that message is being followed up on. It just stops at him sending an email and receiving an email back. And that's what I can't understand. This is a fairly critical part of the pandemic response. At that time, the overwhelming majority of infections were in hotel quarantine from overseas travellers. Most of the infections in this country were overseas arrivals. So that's where the problem is, and yet there seems to be so little investigation into, you know, problems that they encountered along the way.
I mean, go for it, Barnaby.
But one of the reasons they're ducking for cover, Rita and Paul and Reece, is the Labor Party itself. When it first got into government, they got all hot under the collar and they passed some union-pushed legislation that said even the directors of companies could go to jail if people at the workplace died. Now, we don't want anyone at the workplace to die, but there is a distance where you can hardly be held responsible for it. Punishable by up to 15 years in jail.
Exactly.
But guess what? It includes government. It includes government because they forgot to strike that out. So you've got all these people saying, I wasn't there, I know nothing, it wasn't me. Under the carpet they go because they're going, mate, I might be off to the big house. Like, how did this happen? Who put those idiots on as security guards? Was that you? Was that you? Wasn't me. No, it wasn't me. I'm out of here. It's going to come unstuck. It's going to be such a packet of poo tickets. Watch it.
Well, I'll tell you what, the biggest thing that happened today in all of this hotel security stuff was the Australian Federal Police and what they said today. I'll show you that in a moment. But, Nicholas, if you were puckering at the start of the day about, geez, what's going to happen, you must feel a little bit more relaxed, a little more at one with yourself, that 20 minutes and it'll be Bambi who's in the under the focus, not the people who will actually put this a lot closer to the Premier as being someone who made the decision to not do what the rest of the country was doing.
Well, look, I'm not going to defend Brett Sutton. I'm sure he's perfectly capable of doing that when he gets recalled back before the Commission of Inquiry. But for the benefit of your viewers, I do think we need to give them a bit of perspective on this email chain, because if you read the media reports, it does make it look like, you know, there it was in 20-point font that you know.
Oh, you're going to argue incompetence here, Nicholas.
The use
I like
of
this.
the private security guards, whereas when you actually look at the email chain, as I did today, you find out he didn't author the email. It was an email chain that he was copied into, and it's sort of a fair way down in the email. It makes the reference to the private security guards, and yes, he does sort of respond saying, you know, yep, okay. But as he says, it didn't register with him. So we will see just how much he was across all this when he comes back before the Commission of Inquiry.
Barnaby, could you imagine in question time if you stood up and said in response to the Labor question, look, to be honest, it was a very big document. I couldn't read all the way through it.
It was terribly... all that paper, I had to get right down to here. I mean, God, you know, up round about there I started thinking about butterflies, and down here I started falling asleep. Never got to there. I'll tell you one thing. The most boring half hour of my life is this incessant Dan Andrews press conferences. Why they keep putting them on television? Why do you give me a reason to go to another channel? You know, you turn on and think, Oh, here he goes again, for God's sake.
Barnaby, no.
Someone buy me a beer.
I agree.
Peter Cretlin's going to be at another one, I'm sure, in not the too distant future. So you don't want to be missing that. You want to be watching when they go to head-to-head. And there's been some... I've written about this for tomorrow's paper. There's been some really great female journalists, I don't know why they're always women, who have done their best to keep Andrews accountable, who've asked him the hard question, and he has treated them with utter disdain.
But it's like an ad for Valium watching him.
It is. I can't stand him.
No, we need to hear. But I tell you, you're right. He's the master of spin. He doesn't give away much. But I think when he is questioned, you do need to see his response.